It was a Monday morning, like any other. There I was, stuck in traffic in Dallas, clutching that steering wheel, drinking my larger-than-necessary cup of coffee, and taking deep breaths. Not only because I really didn't want to be stuck in that traffic, but even more than that, I really didn't want to go into work. So I pull up to the building, put the car in park, another few deep breaths, and I just sit there, frozen, staring at the building, dreading the reality of what my day would be like. So I opt to meditate for a while. Next thing I know, that while turns into 15 minutes, then 30 minutes, and then a full hour, until I finally muster up the courage to walk in, praying the whole time that today would be different. But most of all, that 5 o'clock would be here like that. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but actively pursuing happiness at work was the last thing I was thinking about. I was much more concerned with trying to avoid the pain of being at a job that I did not love. So let me ask you this. Where are you in your career? What made you choose your career path? Do you love your job? Would you believe, according to a study by Deloitte, 80% of Americans are unhappy at work? 80%. It's time to change. And it starts with us realizing that we are in complete control of our happiness. No one should ever be miserable at work, especially since we spend an average of 90,000 hours there in our lifetime. So back when I was at that job that I really didn't love, what I needed to realize was that I was in full control of my happiness. And right now, it's important for you to realize that you are 100% in control of your happiness. And it is your right. Remember, according to the US Constitution, the pursuit of happiness is our fundamental right in the Declaration of Independence to freely pursue joy and live a life that makes us happy. We spend more than 2/3 of our lives at work. Isn't it time we started to pursue joy and fulfillment as a measure of our success? So, is there a secret to achieving this level of joy and fulfillment that we're all seeking? Well, here it is. Happiness. Happiness is 80% psychology and 20% strategy. So let's start by breaking down the psychology. This can be broken down into these 3 parts: perception, having a strong mindset, and our beliefs. What if I told you that your perception shapes your reality? How else could we explain how the happiness levels of lottery winners a year after their winnings is almost exactly the same as that of a paraplegic the year after a devastating accident? What we perceive to be true based on our assumptions and interpretations is what creates the experiences that we have. What I came to realize is that happiness is much less based on external factors than I thought. Believe me, I know it is easy to blame that boss that drives you nuts, right? Or maybe the fact that you don't get let in on the important stuff. Maybe you can identify with some of these thoughts that I have had plenty of times. I'll be so much happier if I felt more supported and valued and appreciated at work. I'd be so much happier if I got paid more. I'd be so much happier if I wasn't micromanaged. I'd be so much happier if I had better coworkers. Or I'd be so much happier if I had opportunities to grow and to develop at work. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are enough to create that level of happiness that you desire. When I realized this and started to work on having a growth versus a fixed mindset, that's when everything started to change for me. So what is the difference between this growth and fixed mindset? Well, someone with a growth mindset analyzes mistakes with the intention to learn from them. They accept challenges. They are inspired by the success of others. Whereas someone with a fixed mindset has unchangeable aptitude or an ability to learn new things. They avoid taking risks, they avoid challenges, and they give up easily. 80% of our happiness is as a result of how we see the world. What we think is going to make us so much happier, like earning that higher salary or being in a more supportive environment, doesn't really make us as happy as we would like to believe. Reaching that level of contentment that you desire really does start with you. But it's simpler than you may think. It all starts with our beliefs. Your beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. Your perception, based on those beliefs, is what creates the experiences that you have. If you believe you work in the worst place in the world, you're going to find evidence that that's the case. So basically, how this works is our minds are wired to back up our beliefs, to make what we believe true. So what we need to start by doing is remembering these 3 empowering beliefs. Number 1, everything that happens to you also happens for you to get you to that level of success that you want. What if we thank God for everything, even during the challenging times? Number 2, you cannot make a mistake. Look at every interaction and event as an opportunity to learn and to grow because it's preparing you for what's to come. Number 3, seeing the best in yourself and in others, having a positive outlook. The more we stay in a space of gratitude, the more positive we'll be, and the more we're grateful, the more we'll have to be grateful for. So what would you need to believe about yourself in order for you to be your most confident? That you're smart, that you're capable, that you're unstoppable? Is your self-talk or that internal dialogue positive or negative? Is it empowering or is it disempowering? Having strong beliefs can make us unshakable and unstoppable, especially during the tough times. It gives us access to resources we may not be able to tap into if we're so consumed by emotions like anger, frustration, or self-doubt. That's why having strong beliefs is so important. Okay, so we've covered the first part of this happiness equation, which again is the psychology and makes up that 80% and can be broken down into perception, having that growth mindset, and our beliefs. Are you ready for the remaining 20%? Great, okay, so it is the strategy. So what I'm about to share with you are 6 things that you can implement right now. They can have a drastic impact on your level of happiness. So here we go. Number 1 is finding ways to be thankful, expressing gratitude. As Tony Robbins says, you can't be angry and truly grateful or fearful and truly grateful at the same time. When we're intentional about focusing on gratitude, we tend to be more mindful and present in the moment, rather than dwelling on mistakes or regrets of the past, or creating anxiety about the future. Next is being intentional. Start taking control of your happiness. And if where you are right now doesn't support you despite your best efforts, it might be time for a change. Action starts with awareness and being crystal clear on what you want and what's right for you. Now let's talk about learning, growing, and helping others. Look at every event as an opportunity to learn, grow, and help others in a more meaningful way. How would your experience change if you asked yourself, what's great about this? And what can I learn from this? From a space of genuine curiosity, no matter how challenging the circumstances are. This shifts the focus from the challenge or unpleasant situation to resourcefulness. Next is giving back. According to Happify, 94% of people who selflessly volunteer say that it improves their mood. When we feel like we're part of a greater good, we tend to feel more valued and we just feel so much better, which in turn leads to us feeling happier. Take Bank of America, for example, where 91% of people on Great Places to Work say they feel really good about the way they contribute to their community. Bank of America has a 2-hour-a-week volunteer option and a policy of matching employee donations up to $5,000 a year. But you don't have to wait on your company to do this. Pick a cause you care about. Volunteer and see how much better you feel, even when you go into the office. Now let's talk about surrounding yourself with what makes you happy. And this includes happy people. More than 1 in 5 Americans reports feeling lonely, even though they're surrounded by other people. It's the quality of your relationships that matter. Your relationships with the people you believe you can really count on. We become more like the people we surround ourselves with. So, how satisfied are you with your relationships that matter? And last, but certainly not least, is practicing self-care. When we take care of ourselves, we tend to feel so much better. And this can start with something as simple as going for a walk during your lunch break. Maybe that's making sure you get enough sleep. Or it could even be just starting a gratitude practice before you go to bed, or spending a few minutes every day focusing and visualizing on what it is that you really want. We spend so much time, effort, and energy trying to feel valued and appreciated by others. But it really needs to start with us appreciating and valuing ourselves. So, the next thing I want to talk about is what I found in my research and in my experience and working with my clients. I came to realize that there is definitely a common thread to us all achieving this level of happiness that we want. And that, in one word, boils down to value. It's the value that you see in your work, the value you believe your job or your company provides to you, and maybe most importantly, the value you see in yourself, your own level of self-esteem, self-worth, and self-confidence that really contributes to your level of happiness. So remember I shared with you earlier that we spend on average 90,000 hours of our life at work? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can choose happiness at work, despite your circumstances. There is too much at risk to leave your level of happiness to chance. And it starts with you focusing on what you can control, working on that growth mindset, and not settling for anything less than what supports you being the best version of yourself so that you can have the impact that you are here to have. I agree with Richard Branson when he says some 80% of our lives are spent at work. You want to have fun at home. Why not have fun at work? It's happiness that leads to the level of success that we all want, not achieving that level of success that's going to make us happy. So, in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with this. Always be grateful for what you have, but never stop pursuing what sets your soul on fire at work. Reaching that level of joy and fulfillment that you desire starts with you. And you've got this. Thank you.